Today I'm in Frankfurt at the Formnext 2022, the world's leading and biggest additive manufacturing fair. And I want to find out if there is some automotive stuff or can we use something in the car tuning and customization. For everyone who is not into additive manufacturing, I want to give a short overview. And this starts with 3 layers. The first one is the material. So you can have granules, filament, resin, or powder. These are the common materials. The process, fused filament fabrication, stereolithography, or selective laser sintering. And then you have tons of post-processing. This means chemicals, sandblasting, painting, resin coating, and stuff like that. And all these 3 layers are presented on the Formnext. So for example, if you want to do a metal part, then you would normally choose the metal powder with selective laser sintering and then post-processing like sandblasting, and then you have your part. But this fair shows you can also do something different. You can go for a filament which contains metal powder, and then you can use the FDM way. And in the post-processing, you heat it and it will shrink a little bit, but then you have your metal part as well. So as you can see, there are tons of different possibilities how to get to your final part. The first thing what really catch me was this 3D printed subwoofer inlay. And I thought it was the ready-to-use part, but it is just a builder PLA part, Porsche GT2 RS, to test if the final part will fit. And normally it is made of wood, so yes, it's quicker in production, but it would be great and not so disappointing if this would be a part you really use in your car. But let's have a look for another part. Here you can see steering wheel grips of the BAC Mono Supercar made by Powder Bed Fusion. And this is really great because you can tailor these parts exactly to your needs. 3D printing makes design possible, which you can't produce with other manufacturing processes. This is shown here at this interior door handle or the whole door as well. Because these small little structures, you are not really able to do that with another way. Then you have something like key covers, for example. I think that's really interesting because it makes a new look possible. So these are still the layouts of the old parts, because imagine something completely new is really difficult. So the normal process of the brain is looking for parts you already have and how to tailor them to 3D printing instead of go completely new ways. But here you can also see some interesting post-processing stuff. This Prusa display brings me to the idea to print interior light covers. I think that could be a very interesting small project. But now let's have a look to the exterior stuff. Starting with these 2 mirror covers, which were laser scanned and then printed in selective absorption fusion, just showing that you can produce exterior parts. These are 3D scanned as well and SAF printed. This is like a plastic powder print in PA11. But the more interesting is the post-processing shows that painted it just looks like the real cover ready to use. One of my favorites on the Formnext was a wind form. Wind form is a material developed by an Italian company coming from motorbike races, and they developed a carbon fiber reinforced printing material which is ready to use after printing. This is really, really good because this is not just a prototype or just a test fit stuff. This is something you can use, and I think this is the way to go. Now just some other footage of exterior parts before we come to my highlight. 3D printed engine parts made with plastic instead of metal. So I will split this section to plastic parts and metal parts. My highlight was printed plastic parts for the engine, because normally you have problems with temperature But here you can see this throttle body mounting and the air intake trumpet is printed in fused filament fabrication, and it works because it has carbon fiber in it. So it's carbon filled material and it can withstand superbike racing conditions. That sounds awesome. That sounds like you can print something you really can use. And here you see another air intake which is printed with wind form material. So this is carbon fiber material as well. But the top idea on this fair for me was to print engine belt pulleys in carbon fiber material. And I asked the engineer if this works, and they say when it didn't or when it doesn't work, then they shouldn't show it, right? So this was the next thing instead of steel or alloy pulleys. This was the thing I couldn't believe. And then we still have some other materials. This is most powder bed or selective laser sintering. But this brake fluid reservoir, this should be a resin print, I think. So it is an SLA part. Here you can see a lot of mixes. This one prints a metal pipe, so this could be interesting for the exhaust. Then here you have something which is made from powder. It's an exhaust manifold, I think. And here you can see, this is really interesting, the whole block. And these small ribs, for example, which generates a cooling effect or are for stability, you can do by metal powder or selective laser sintering. And then you still have something like this transition housing, which looks very future as well. I think the boundary is your creativity in these manufacturing parts. So this is the thing what really impacts. Thank you for watching. I hope it was a little bit interesting for you, and see you soon in another video.